Good morning, it's today again. Welcome back to Joseph's Reserves. I'm Joseph and I store 20% of my income in the form of rare coins and precious metals. Most people want stacking to feel exciting. They want big moves, big gains, big orders in the mail, but the truth is, real wealth building is usually boring. It's steady, it's disciplined, and it's repetitive. And this week's silver purchase, it wasn't flashy at all, but this is exactly what matters. Congratulations to my wife for being the first comment on yesterday's video. She's going by Asnath, which is Joseph's wife from the book of Genesis. Thank you so much for your support. Obviously, I wouldn't be doing any of this without it. I didn't go out and buy some extreme amount like a monster box. I didn't chase a breakout, and I didn't wait for the perfect dip, even though there was quite a large dip yesterday. I just kept doing what I've committed to do. Slow, steady accumulation. Every week on the day I get paid, I spend 20% of that paycheck on precious metals, and the pieces I picked up show exactly why my approach works for me. First, let's talk about this 2022 Barbados Trident, because this coin represents a category in stacking that most people don't clearly define. At first glance, it's simple. 1 ounce of 3/9 fine silver. It's a clean design with legal tender status, but once you understand how it's issued and how the market views it, you realize why it doesn't behave the same way as an American silver eagle or a Canadian silver maple. This 2022 Barbados Trident is a sovereign-backed coin from the country of Barbados. It means it carries a legal tender status and an official face value authorized by the national government. That alone should separate it from being a generic round. A generic round is one privately minted with no denomination and no issuing country. Just wait. But here's where the nuance comes in. This coin isn't struck by a long-established government mint like the United States Mint or the Royal Canadian Mint. It's produced by a private mint, the Scottsdale Mint, under an agreement with Barbados. That production model creates what I consider to be a middle category in bullion. On one end, you have fully generic silver, just a pure metal, low premium. It maximizes the simplicity. On the other end, you have the flagship sovereign bullion programs with decades of global recognition and deep liquidity. These coins command strong, consistent premiums because the market knows them and trusts them and trades them daily. This Barbados Trident sits in between those two worlds. So you could call this somewhat of a sovereign authorized, privately minted coin. Now let's turn to the 2025 Beowulf and Dragon coin from the United Kingdom. This is a Royal Mint product, but it's not part of the flagship Britannia series that most people immediately recognize, and that distinction matters when you're thinking about stacking and long-term value. Beowulf is one of the oldest surviving works in English literature, a story passed down over thousands of years, full heroism, legacy, and the famous battle with a dragon. This coin captures an epic narrative in silver, giving it a layer of cultural depth that generic rounds simply don't have. Being a Royal Mint product gives it the credibility. The Royal Mint has centuries of history and global recognition, so buyers know exactly who produced it and trust its quality. But unlike the Britannia, which is the UK's flagship bullion coin, this Beowulf and Dragon occupies a niche. Its recognition isn't universal, and its mintage is much smaller, which means it doesn't trade with the same consistency or liquidity as the Britannia. But that's not really a drawback, it simply just has a different role in my stack. The design itself is striking. Beowulf facing the dragon is captured in bold devices, contrasted against a clean, smooth field. The artwork conveys momentum, drama, and story. It's a coin that feels alive, almost cinematic. For me, this Beowulf coin represents a thoughtful layer, silver that carries a story, backed by a trusted mint, but not the mainstream bullion workhorse. It's an intentional choice that blends heritage, beauty, utility, into a single piece. It's perfectly fitting my long-term stacking strategy. Then we have Mercury dimes, 8 small pieces of 90% constitutional silver. These coins circulated as real money. They were used every day in commerce. They represent an era where silver was integrated into daily life, not just as an investment portfolio. There's something grounding about holding constitutional silver. It reminds you that silver's value isn't theoretical, it's functional as a currency. It survived world wars, depressions, economic shifts, and much more. And it still carries its value today. Mercury dimes also bring divisibility into the stack. In uncertain environments, small denominations are practical. They allow flexibility, they're recognizable, and they're trusted. Even people who don't follow bullion markets understand the old U.S. silver coins, and that recognition is powerful. So this week, right after a pretty massive dip, my $200 afforded me 2 ounces of silver and 8 Mercury dimes. When we zoom out, decades from now, each individual purchase won't matter nearly as much as the pattern of consistency, the habit of accumulation, and the refusal to chase or quit based on price. This is how the stack grows. Not all at once, but little by little. You can now write me at Joseph's Reserves, 10160 Highway 242, Suite 800, number 401 in Conroe, Texas, zip code 77385. Make sure to include your information so I can write you back. If you like this video, make sure to go down and give it a thumbs up. Go to the comment section for any comments or questions or to start a conversation with someone. Make sure you subscribe and share the video, but most of all, thank you so much for watching. And just remember, every ounce adds up, so no matter how small, just keep stacking.